meeting. I have a business meeting tomorrow.
Sir? Oh, sweetheart. Here, take this.
Get the best-selling novels, The Deal, and Perfect Couple by Untitled White at 40 Ghana cedis each. Available at all Shell shops, selected bookshops, and total filling stations. For inquiries, call 050-554-6010 or WhatsApp 050-554-6030 for your copies.
Hello, and welcome to ENCORE, the Facebook Live platform on which we discuss all things love, marriage, sex, relationship, and what have you. They call me Uncle WHYTE. I am the CEO of Roverman Productions. But for the purposes of this platform, all you need to remember is this: I am committed to helping you become your best self. Over the last 11 weeks, we have been hosting some wonderful couples, and my regard to every one of them who has appeared as my guest. And today, oh boy, do we have a surprise for you. Well, thanks to Chrissy, it's no longer a surprise because he put it out there. So, welcome to ENCORE. A special welcome to Greg from Chicago. Is it Chicago or California? Greg from California, who is joining us very briefly. Greg, welcome to Ghana. I hope Ghana has been good to you. Don't leave before you eat jollof, because now that is what we are becoming very known for. Oh, but stay away from soccer. You can ask Ed Sheridan, he will tell you why you should stay away from it. Right. Now, before we go into the guests that I have, honored guests, let me remind you that my next play, Dora, Why, is at the National Theatre on the 6th and 7th of April, and then over the Easter weekend. So join us. The early bird tickets are out there. The sale ends tomorrow. After tomorrow, you pay 80 cedis for the same ticket that you can pay today, 60 cedis. So save yourself some 20 cedis for popcorn when you come to the National Theatre. And now we'll quickly meet our guests. As I've done with all the 10 guests, the 10 couples before me, I do not introduce them, they introduce themselves. So we'll begin with a young man. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Adjetey Annan. I'm an actor and a part-time lecturer, that's it.
How long have you been an actor?
Wow, let me do some maths here. Since 1994, and so that makes it...
That makes it about 25 years.
25 years, thereabouts.
Yeah. The reason why I made him give us how long he's been doing this is because I wanted you to know that he's been tested and approved. He's paid his dues. And then the beautiful woman here.
Hi, my name is Elorm. I am Adjetey's wife. I'm a banker.
Okay.
Yes.
When he's happy, how does he call you?
Baby, Sparkle, Sparks.
And when you are happy, what do you call him?
Shushu.
And when you're angry with him, what do you call him?
When I'm angry, yes, Adjetey Annan. Or when I'm not, maybe semi-angry, is Pusher.
All right. And then what about you? What do you call her when you are angry?
I think I just go straight to the point. I don't measure it. I mean, if a few times I've gone Elorm, but mostly I'll just go straight to the point.
Or Madam.
Yeah, a few times.
Madam. Madam, it means that you are pissed.
Madam.
Yeah, that means Well, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Uncle.
We look forward to hosting you. Now, let me say this. This is one of the couple that really were happy to come. All of them have come, many of them out of respect for me. But Pusha and his wife were happy, really happy to be here, and we are so glad to host them. Yep. Well, the journey.
Yeah.
How did it start for the two of you?
You? Me?
Okay. We met on the set of Things We Do for Love.
Right.
So I went to audition, and then I got a role, and I went on a set of Things We Do for Love, and I met him. The first time I met him was around McLean Hotel. There was a scene being done there, and I saw him, and I was thinking, hey, the guy is quiet, so, and I really wanted to say hi to him, but I was shy. I mean, when he's in that state, it's a bit unapproachable, I felt, but yeah, but that's how we met.
And but you knew him?
I'd seen him on TV like a lot of times, and I actually had seen him around Usu a couple of times, but I'd never spoken to him.
You had a crush on him?
Maybe a little.
What about you? How did it begin for you?
Yeah, like she said, we met on set. She was in the company of these other, Fabia was her character. She was part of the core. And I thought that they had, a good relationship because they're pretty much well behaved.
Okay.
Even when it's cut, they go into their space and they're, and they're well behaved generally. And so I knew that I just wanted to be, in their company. I mean, it was mainly a family kind of atmosphere, and so that's how I got to talk to her. Okay. But even at that stage, it was just family thing. There was nothing really. Okay. I really thought that she was beautiful. Okay. That I noted. But that was it. Then.
Anyway.
Thank you.
But that was it. It was Things to Do for Love set. Okay. Yeah.
There are a lot of young ladies watching who want me to ask you this question. Because the day you married her, you broke the heart of many young ladies out there. And they want me to ask you, why her?
Why her?
Why not one of them? Why Elorm?
I mean, for me, it would have been one anyway, and she happened to be the one, because I thought that the few things that was very striking. I thought that she spoke well. Okay. Anytime you communicate with her, her words are pure. They're not mixed with any of those, adulterated, if you will. You could sense that this is somebody coming from a home, well brought up. She's in a conversation. You realize that she's got fearing. And so those are some of the things that meant a lot to me because of where I was also coming from. And later on when we go into that, you understand much more. But these were the striking.
Elorm, why him?
Him because he was mature. He was very, very composed. He seemed to know what he was about. He seemed to be, he was very talented, and he carried his talent well. He was humble, respectful, well respected as well. And I just felt a connection with him. Okay. That's completed me. So, all right. Yes.
How did he propose?
Okay. So it's funny, but we were friends, and then before we knew, it seemed like we were dating. And
before you knew?
Yes. It seemed like it was like a very natural progression. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then even though he's much older, he went to Legon a bit late, so he was a year ahead of me in school. So he had graduated, left, and came back when I was in level 400. And then one day he came and we were talking, and he was like, Charlie, we have to start buying our engagement things. And I was like, when did you propose to me? That we are buying engagement things. And he was like, but what did you think we were doing all along? I said, no, you have to propose to me. I mean, I have to have a moment where I say, this is the moment where you propose to me. And he was like, for what? This is what? I said, no, you have to propose to me. And he was like, okay, so what should I do? I said, go on your knees and tell me you want to marry me. And so, I mean, it was hilarious, but he did. I mean, he was very serious about it. So it was, yes, I was in
You eventually had to coach him.
Yes, I mean, you know, he felt like, I mean, it was all this fairy tale thing about let's do this, let's do that. We have a good relationship, we are dating, we are serious, we want to get married. So let's get married. And I said, no, I need to have that moment. So, yes,
Well,
so he
speak for
did.
yourself.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. And as you rightly said,
So you were not going to propose?
well, I don't know where I had. I didn't really think that was really necessary.
Necessary, okay.
You know, I thought that for me, if it's
You knew you
if-
loved her, you knew she also
and
loved
she was
you.
the only one. You know, I knew
Okay.
that. Look, I'm very serious about this. You know, let's just get on with it. And so I, you know, even though she laid so much emphasis on the fact that there was that process that we had to go so that it's, which is significant for her. I thought that why not? I mean, if at the end of the day, I don't even regard it, and she finds value in that, I'll go through the process and let's
Do you have a fisherman blood in you?
yeah, from you know, I think I have some connection, you know.
At a point, so after that conversation, I told him, do you know what? I don't think I'm ready to get married. And he said, you are ready. I said, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I want to wait a little. And he, before, so we started dating when I was about 23. And he told me that when you are 24, you will be a woman. So you'll be ready to get married. So this was just about getting to my 24th birthday. And he said, you are ready, you will get married. And I said, no, I'm not ready, I'm not going to get married. He said, you will marry. So, I mean, that's why the funny part of all that, for me, I felt like, okay, at least if I don't know what I'm doing, at least he knows what he's doing. So let's take
give
it
it a
seriously, yeah. So, yeah.
When she was saying she wasn't ready, what did you think?
Well, I just read into it that maybe there was some kind of fear of the unknown. But I was really sure. The two things for me was that I knew that she was the one.
Okay.
And then the second thing was I didn't want anybody crossing me.
Okay.
So I just needed to tie everything down and get on with it. So I was a bit emphatic.
Well, and how many years now?
12 years.
How has it been?
Oh,
living
it's
together?
A roller
everything. It's a
coaster.
roller coaster.
Okay,
It's been,
take us on that journey.
I mean, one of the things that I realized first was, which of course during our dating years, I didn't realize or notice, was I'm very sensitive to. I'm sure because of what I'd learned as well, to when you bang the door.
Okay.
Or when you speak and it has to be a conversation.
Yeah.
But if it's a bit high,
Oh,
and a bit, and so I noticed that when she leaves or anywhere that has a door and she closes, it's like bang. I'm like,
I couldn't even hear it.
I'm like, okay.
Like you're always banging doors. I can't hear it.
Don't bang doors. And then when she's speaking to you, then I'm like, but then I realized that where they lived, where she lived, when you go to the home upstairs,
My house was by the main road.
by the main road.
I grew up in the house just by
to
the
your
main
left is
major
a
road.
24-hour service, church service, and then there's a bar to the
Wait,
right.
24-hour church service.
Yes. There's always church going on.
And then to their right is this barber shop where they have this hip live speaker directed
They
to the
actually
house.
sell CDs, so like those.
And so they're in the
roadside.
middle of, and so the household, they pitch their volume to a certain height that when they have to talk to you,
To
they have
compensate for all the noise
to-
around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the pitch was set so that even when they move into a different environment, they're not aware.
Yeah.
So I began to understand.
Perfect for the
oh,
stage, isn't it? Perfect for theater.
So then I began to, not to get too hard on her, to understand that
Because you
this is what
understood.
exactly, and so that was one of the first things I noticed.
The journey for you, Elorm.
For me, right from the start, so both of my parents are still together, and I've grown up. Almost everybody in my family is still married to the first person they got married to. So I felt like marriage is permanent.
That's a
You
blessed
have
family.
to, yes.
You come
thank
from
you.
a blessed family.
Thank you. So I felt like whatever it is, it has to be the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. There's no turning back once you make the decision. So from the start, I felt, okay, we are very different, very, very different in so many ways. We're extremely different. And honestly, in the first few years, I was like, is this right? I mean, you know, because one of the biggest problems I had with him is my family, we talk a lot, we communicate a lot. If I'm going to the washroom, I'll tell my mom, "Mommy, I washroom, Abba." So we talk about it, and we talk about everything. Like there's communication, but he was very shut in.
Yes.
He's going to do something, and you probably get to know after it's done, or you know, just the moment before. Sometimes one of the biggest fights I have with him is sometimes he's traveling, and his mother gets to know about it the day he's traveling, and maybe he's not going to Kumasi, he's going to America, and I'm like, how does your mom not know about this from the day the discussion was held? So one of the problems that we've had is communication, and I'm always like, why don't you talk to me about what is going on? Why don't you talk to me about what you're going through? And so we've had a lot of challenges with that. But I've always known that I wanted it to work, and I wanted to be happy with him. I didn't just want to endure the relationship. I wanted to enjoy his company, enjoy being with him. So I talk. I talked and I talk. I wake him up and I talk. I wait for him and I talk. Every time. Initially, he used to get irritated, but I realized that he also took a position where he was like, okay, let me hear her out and see what is it that is, this must be a big concern to her if she's talking about it so much. And so, I mean, I felt like, don't hide your feelings. Don't pretend that you're okay with something that you're not okay with. And I over the years, he began to appreciate it, and then we began to work on things together.
Well, he's a man. To all the wives out there, men, we don't talk, okay? We don't talk like that. He was even informing the mother that he was traveling. Some people, it is when they get there.
But he's done that before. He's done that, He's done that before.
No, so it's normal. No, it's normal. I'm
before.
just saying that he's so strange.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
Because some of us will go and come because we bring the present home and say, "You okay?" So, Miss American, all right, now.
Well, Uncle, but before you even continue, there's one thing that is worth mentioning, that even though at her side, family was really treasured, and therefore, you know, people were keeping their, you know, being faithful to each other and keeping it very neated. On my side, the story was different.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I think of all the 7 children, I think only one has marriage is surviving now.
On your father's side?
Yeah, you know, my father's side. So it was a norm that people could not, you know, sustain it. So for me, it was also a motivational background for me to make sure that I change that cycle from my generation. And so even though we did have different backgrounds, the same goal was, let's make this work, from her experience and also from mine.
Good point. Cycles are meant to be broken. Don't just flow with them and say, as for us, that is the way we create a virtual cycle and not a vicious one. All right. What's the craziest thing he's done for you?
Oh, okay, I remember.
Or one of the craziest?
I just, he doesn't do crazy.
He doesn't do crazy?
He's very predictable.
Okay, all right. Okay, hold on. He has to defend himself.
He doesn't do crazy.
What's the craziest thing you've done for him?
Well, I call it crazy. I think,
or exciting or interesting, whatever.
I think there was a day that it was her birthday, and what I did was buy her a gift. But now, how do I get it to her? You know, surprising her.
Okay.
Like when I was in school.
When you're in school. So what I did was that I packaged it and made sure that I got to her room and placed it somewhere, and then left.
The night before.
And then the following morning, I called her, wished her happy birthday, and I directed it to where
You called me at midnight.
At midnight, I did. There you go.
Okay.
And,
so he'll be the first person to wish you.
Yeah,
happy
but that was
birthday.
thrilling because I didn't expect anything like that from him. And it was something I had seen in a shop and had said I liked, but I thought, oh, it's too expensive. So I was in final year in Legon. So he called me at midnight and said happy birthday. And I was like, why is he disturbing me at this time of the night? And he was like, okay, can you stand up? I was like, and do what? He said, just stand up. I said, okay. He said, stand on your bed. I was in a single room. In the final year. So stand on your bed. He said, okay. I said, okay. He said, open your suitcase, which was on top of the wardrobe in the room. And then he asked me to, and then he directed me to, and I thought it was really sweet. Yeah, so, yeah, that was, yeah. But you see, this is very moderate crazy. I have done crazy.
All right, then.
I have done.
Tell us about your crazy.
So I have done, I'll tell you two major things that happened. So the first one, we had been married for I think 2 years, and I was working in a bank, and that week was really stressful at work. So he had gone to school in South Africa, and I had spoken with him, and he said he was stressed at school, and I was stressed at work, and we're communicating. He had just done a movie with Shirley Frimpong-Manso at the time, so they were going to do I think it was Thank God It's Friday with KSM that week, that Friday. So he told me that, you know, oh, he had really missed me, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, unknown to him, I had bought a ticket and I was on my way to South Africa that Friday.
Wow.
But he didn't know. So we spoke that afternoon. Normally after work, we'll talk on the phone.
Okay.
So we spoke, and I said that I was going to bed. And he said, oh, you have to watch KSM show and tell me Shirley is going to be interviewed, tell me what's going on and all that. And I was at the boarding gate. And I was like, how am I going to tell him that, you know? But because he's so predictable, I knew how I was going to go about it. So when I was just about to board the flight, I told him that there's doing so. The light has gone off.
The light has gone off.
So I can't watch the show. And he was like, oh, Charlie, these people. Okay. And I was like, I'm really tired. So
I'm going off.
Yes, I'm going offline. So we'll talk in the morning. And he said, okay. And I know once I've told him I'm tired, he won't call me.
Okay.
But if it was me and he had told me he's really tired, maybe 2 hours later I would have called him. Yeah, so, you know, so he can't plan. So I went offline, and I had planned with a mate of his, or somebody who was also in South Africa at the time, a friend of ours. So he picked me from the airport. We went to his room, and I mean, he was really shocked to see me. There was no way he would have imagined that I was on my way to South Africa.
You remember that?
At that time.
I do.
How did he feel like?
Unreal, you know, because I was just speaking to her some hours ago, and there was no indication that, you know, she was coming all the way, and it was a shocker. I mean, she said that she had a camera, she would have taken my expression on my face, and I thought it was really, really sweet, you know, because
great.
When I was going, people were telling me, you know, you don't surprise a man, you don't do that.
All those.
What if you go and there's somebody there? What if even our counselor said that to me? What if you go and there's a woman there? I mean, it's not good to do that. My boss at work kept discouraging me. You don't do that. You're going to create problems for yourself. I was like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. But when I got there, I knew there was no woman anyway. He was looking like someone who had been in the jungle for weeks. His hair was all overgrown and his room was in a mess. And it was...
Wow. It's good to be privileged happen. Any challenges? What have been some of the difficult times you've been through as a couple?
Oh, I think that number one would have been when we were expecting. You know, we were just waiting for a baby, and the baby just won't come, and it really took its toll on us. Especially when it was also a period where we somehow were having a lot of invites for outdoorings, you know, and so we always have to revisit it, that, inwardly, when are we having ours? And you know, these are either close friends or relatives, and you can see you can't go, and you know, just sight of the baby, and it was quite tough. Then also, there were people who were genuinely concerned, of course, but sometimes I think that the people overstretch that, and it becomes over friendly. And therefore, they would then begin to give you advice as to what you can do to get a baby.
Those are the people who mourn more than the bereaved.
There you go, you know, and giving her all sorts of things to put in her water, to take seed, and you know, all sorts of advices, and it added more to the pressure because I would rather you just whatever prayers you offer, you know, silently, and not give me solutions.
That's
you
right.
know, that would work magic overnight, and I think that it really had an impact on us. Even though from hindsight we would say that it was the design was perfect because then it exposed certain weaknesses, you know, at least on my side, that that came to the light, that we began to discuss and talk about way before the baby came in. Yeah, so yeah, that was one.
Hello.
Yeah, I think those years were tough. We, apart from trying in the biological way, we had been to a whole lot of hospitals and seen a lot of doctors, run also tests and gone through a whole lot of things. And the most difficult thing for me at that time was I didn't think I had him. I felt that he was, you know, rising in his career at the time, and he was very, I mean, apart from the fact that he's a very decent and humble guy, he was vulnerable to the pressures of the, I mean, entertainment industry, of fame, you know, of people sending him all kinds of messages. And initially there was resistance, but then he started to enjoy it. So there was a lot of, he was out there more than with me. We used to go out and we'd go for premieres or shows, and I felt like he was more for his fans than for me. So I stopped going out with him because there are times when, I mean, would go and I can sense that there's a rapport between him and somebody who I assumed he had just met. So obviously there was a conversation, or there's some kind of expectation that the other person has, and I felt a lot of, I mean, very out of place in his life a lot of times, and it kept drawing us further and further apart. Out there we tried to look good in the public, but when we came home we practically didn't have a relationship. You know, and for years it was like, should I stay, should I go, should I stay, should I go? And it was really hard for me. I mean, behind all that, I knew there was a good man who really wanted to make the marriage work, but the pressure was a lot on him, and he was not opening up and telling me about some of the pressures, and I'll discover things and it would become a fight, and we would not talk for days. We'd have a lot of problems, and some of the things I couldn't share with my mom or other close friends, and I didn't have a lot of close friends now I do. And people I can trust and people I can share things with and pray with and talk with and cry with, but then I had nobody, so it was a very difficult time for me. It was really difficult.
How did the two of you navigate that dark period?
Uncle, if we tell you that we had like a clear plan, or we didn't.
So you stumbled your way out.
We just stumbled our way out. All we knew was that we were going to come out of it, and we were dealing with the issues that were problematic, because I think not having a child itself is not really as big a problem as not being together, not being friends, not still having a relationship. So that was the problem that we needed to address. And for me, I one of the blessings that I had was there's just two of them, he and his sister, and I have a great relationship with his sister. And even though everybody was like, you don't talk to your sister-in-law about things, she was the best person I could have spoken to at that time, because some of the challenges which for me are generational, coming from his family, etc., are things that she revealed to me, and she told me we need to pray about this because it's not him. It is things that he's having to deal with, and he doesn't know how to navigate his way around. So much as I got angry with him, there were times I felt sorry for him because I felt he was also a victim to some extent. So with his sister's support and with my desire that this is not going to break us apart, we were able to get closer and closer each time. And I think we really didn't have a compass. We just stumbled our way, just that somehow we're still holding hands. And
well, thank God that you survived and you made it through it, and it's getting better and better, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is.
What's the biggest challenge for you as a star and a married man?
I think that the biggest challenge has been how I, interact with, especially the female. And the fans, and in a way that sometimes there are things that sometimes we men don't see, and a lot of things that we take for granted. We may think that, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just an emoji that give a peg. It's not, but the other side, the meaning is heavy, and those are some of the things that allowed other people to get into my
Your space.
my space, communicating, etc. And also trying as much as possible not to hurt her, and so I keep those things away from her and all that. It's but my biggest challenge also has been not repeating some of those things where I should have realized that I was hurting her, and there needed to be a conscious effort to break a certain cycle, and those were some of my heavy challenges. Yeah.
The challenge of being married to a superstar.
Get your rivals.
You know, I mean, there are people who don't like me, and I don't even know them. I don't even know them. I mean, recently, I can cite this example because I know he's on my side, but there was somebody who said that I was stalking her. And
You were stalking her?
yes, and you know, WhatsApp status, when you're watching somebody's status, sometimes once your data is on, it can end and go to the next person's status without you consciously knowing it. And apparently I had stumbled on the person's status, and the person said I was stalking her. And I mean, I understand. I mean, sometimes I get angry with him. I'm like, it's your fault. You created these, you know, you opened these avenues for all these people. But I think that, I mean, all I just want is a quiet, happy relationship. Sometimes I don't even want to think of him as a superstar or as a star or whatever. I don't like to think of him that way. If I had my own way, in fact, when we got married, actually, to confess, I tried to pull him out of acting.
So you can have him for yourself?
Yes, because that was not why. I wasn't attracted to him because he was an actor. It was because there was a person behind that. So in the first 3 years of our marriage, he was working somewhere else as a marketing manager. I think it was the worst 3 years of his life.
Because he was not happy?
He was not happy. He would come back home from work and we don't talk. We leave home at 5:30. We were living at McCarthy and he was working at home, Tema.
Okay.
So we leave home at 5:30, get home at 10. I was working as a teaching assistant at the time. So by 3 o'clock, I'm home. And I'll be home from 3 till 9:30 or 10 before he gets home. And when he comes, really is no. How was your day? Fine. And he'll just be there. There was no communication, no talk, no friendship. And I spoke with a friend at church, and she told me, you know what, I don't think you should stop him from doing what his passion is. Don't be selfish and keep him for yourself just because, you know, let him go and let the strength of the foundation you have in the relationship bring him back to you. So let him go. And so that was how from 2000, we got married in 2007. And so from 2009, after he went to school in South Africa, then he started to do productions with Shelley Frimpong. So and I think he's a much happier person now.
And you?
And I think I've done a bit of acting too. I did a bit of acting while I was in school, and of course that's how we met. And I think so. I understand the pressures of the terrain, but I just wanted him to let me into that part of his life, let me know what's going on. And once he started to, I got more comfortable. Occasionally, we still laugh about some things. Like I tell him, there's some actresses I tell him, I don't want you to act with this person. I don't like it. I don't like her. I don't like how she does things. I don't like how she's around you. I can tell that she has some, you know. But most of the female actresses are my friends, and we've got a great relationship. So I'm happy with what he does, and I can tell that he's more fulfilled now that he's...
Ladies, sometimes have a little more confidence in us. They may be around us, but we know who we want. I like.
Oh yes.
Oh, we know where what we want. Let them come. Let them come. You know, that's the interesting thing about a man. He can have all these fans, and yet none of them mean anything to him.
Yeah, back at a point he was allowing them around. He was allowing them closer than, you know. At a point he was enjoying it, and he was.
Not enjoying it, we enjoy it. We enjoy it, but the line is still there.
Oh my goodness.
Quincy, shut up. The one is saying something very serious. Don't trivialize it. But I understand that. Do you get the situation that my wife runs into, where at every function she goes to and she's introduced as Mrs. White, there's likely to be somebody who comes and says, "You are my rival."
Oh, a lot of times. A lot of times.
How do you handle that?
Maybe in the early days I used to get offended, but now I just find it funny.
Why did you get offended?
Because if it was somebody, it depends on how the person says it though.
Okay.
Yes, but if the person tells me that, hey, your husband is my friend though, then I'm like, in
What
what
kind of
way?
friend?
What kind of friend?
Yeah.
Yes, you know. But when it's just somebody, oh, I admire your husband, I see him on TV, hey, I'm my rival. It's okay. I think a lot of that, you know, women, we read beyond what we hear. So I think.
So then, would you go home and say, hey?
Oh no.
Pusher, I met this girl.
Really, no. I think the ones who really had those kinds of intentions, they won't come at all. They won't approach you at all. So it's just been.
No, you know, I can tell you this. I am excited talking with the two of you because you have a great relationship.
Thank you.
And I'll commit myself to praying with you that it will continue to be this sweet, this strong, this powerful.
Thank you so much.
Because the way the two of you are communicating, the openness, the freeness around each other, and this is special. You have a special relationship.
Thank you.
Abisi, do we have any questions, any comments for them? No. Hello. What is that Kweku who spoke?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you have to do this all over, would you do it?
Yes, I would.
Why?
Yes, I would. Because I realized that it's very rare for a relationship to start perfect from the beginning. Initially, I didn't understand the amount of hard work that you have to put in to build
into
what
a
you
relationship.
want. And now that I know, I think that I'd be more purposeful, you know, and less irritated by things that were inconsequential. And yes, I would.
Because a lot of the battles in early marriages, when you look back, they are funny.
Yes.
Because there was nothing there, and yet we're back in.
But to be very honest, Uncle, with the things I was concerned about from the beginning, it turned out somewhere in the middle that I was actually right. That you know he was.
So it was good for you
lax. Yes, he was a bit too lax with certain things, and so even though I had no evidence at the time, I was concerned from the beginning. And one of the things I felt bad was that sometimes you look at me and say, "How can you even think these things about me? How can you think this about me?" And I used to feel, and I used to go and apologize to him. I'm sorry for. And then it turned out that I was right. That those things were actually brewing slowly, and eventually they now started to create problems for us. So I think that yes, it was.
If you have to start it all over.
Oh yes, I mean, me definitely. You know, hindsight, the things that, you know, there's a need for me to, you know, draw certain lines and be very, very, you know, sure about it and be much more open.
That's right.
You know, even and look, when I look back today, when somebody comes up and the freeness with which I even tell her that, oh, look at this girl, she said this or that, and I'm like, why didn't I do that in the beginning, and rather keep it to myself as if I can handle it, you know, and then literally it turns out I couldn't handle it, and so I would have loved to be more open, bring her involve her, so that she's also a sort of a protector, you know, even though we say that men should protect the family. I think the women play a vital role when it comes to that, unknown to us, and I think that it's only when we open up and bring them into our fold that they can pinpoint and notice things that we don't see. And so,
Elorm, what are the lessons you've learned in marriage that you didn't know before you married?
A lot, a lot. I didn't even know where to start from. So I think with the post that we've been doing for the last 12 days, one of the things I spoke about was, or that we both spoke about was about our love languages. Apart from the fact that that book was a Christian book, I realized that it's a book that speaks a lot to things that we've taken for granted. And recently I was having a chat with one of my friends, and she was saying that, you know, it's not only about knowing the person's love language, it's about learning how to speak it. If I know this is what you like and I don't know how to go about it, I still haven't gotten to your heart. So getting to know that some things were more important to him than others, and him getting to know the other way about me, and then working at how are we going to go about it, it made a big difference. Because I felt like love is all about words and words and words and sweet words and gifts, and that in the beginning, you know, but I realized that there were so many more things that were more valuable to him. I'm still very far away from doing the things that I know make him really happy, but I see that
It's a work in
he
progress, isn't it?
appreciates. Yes, it's always a work in
It's a
progress.
work in progress.
Always a. I mean, Uncle, but if we had this conversation with you, let's say 4 years ago or 3 years ago,
To have been a different
it would have been a
conversation.
very
Maybe.
different conversation. I would have been
Very
more
well.
incensed and more emotional and more passionate about certain things. And so I think every year we've grown a little more.
Yeah.
Every year
That's
we've grown
great.
a little more.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, same. I think that for me, some of the lessons that I've learned is that every marriage is unique in a certain sense, and therefore it is what you agree to or what works for you.
That's right.
And especially when this is a mutual agreement, and because sometimes you're wondering whether you're crossing a certain line. For example, when I post that when I go into my home and the dishes in the sink, I will do them because I live in the same space. I know that when she comes in and she's tired from it, the stress of work and dishes are done, it will excite her. It will make her very happy. That is the connection I want to impact. I want to have on her, not to think about, oh, Mbema, yes, what are you doing? You know, and people come in and comment and say that, look at what this guy is doing. He's changing everything, turning everything upside down. But I don't want to go into that. I just want to be content with if my wife is happy about it, if that makes our home, you know, more pleasant and welcoming. And so these are some of the few lessons I've also learned.
Well, great. Let's. Well, she has a question. Okay. Yeah, come on now.
This is real.
Bring the thing to
I
you.
like this. It's real, and it shows that marriage is not perfect, but you are all like trying.
That's right.
But one question I want to ask is, knowing how in the beginning she was insecure with your female friends around you, does it still make you a bit?
They were fans.
uncomfortable?
They were not friends.
Fans, I mean.
Yeah.
Does it make you uncomfortable when you go out with her and then people are trying to come to? Does it make you a bit resentful, or are you just free? Like, are you okay? Are you normal, or does it make you a bit like scared because you
Can I
think
answer this?
she might complain or something?
She wants to answer.
She wants to answer it.
So the insecurity was not baseless. Okay, it was because of what he was allowing in his space. So now there are times we go out and a female fan is trying to get his attention. I tell him, go and take a picture with her. Because now he's made sure that I'm very comfortable that this person is really just a fan. So I'm very comfortable telling him that, I mean, come on, you can't just, you know, go take a picture with the person. Let's do this, let's do that. Sometimes people send me messages, they want him to do things, and I encourage him, go ahead and do it. But so if I know that we have that connection, that bond, and I have that assurance, I'm comfortable. I'm not an unreasonably jealous person. No, I think it's important that you are clear with boundaries in relationships, and I'll be glad to let him spend time with his fans.
Great.
She answered it better.
Yes.
From Emmanuel, in terms of childbirth, did you have any problems with his relatives?
Never. Not a single person in his family ever made or in any way even
put any pressure.
Never, never, ever. His sister, his only sister or his only sibling is married to a gynecologist, and I used to go and see him from time to time. Never ever did he even tell his wife that Elorm has been here, we've had this conversation, and she never probed. She would know I've gone there, but she would never ask, so what's going on, why is this not happening? Never, never. It's one of the biggest blessings of my marriage, I have to say. Yeah.
Would you say the church also helped in your relationship?
Okay, in the beginning, we actually had conflict because of church activities.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I felt I was immersing myself in everything happening in church. So many activities. We'll go for a meeting on Thursday, on Wednesday, on Friday, on Saturday. Every day after church, Sunday, we'll be at church till 7 p.m. I mean, I just felt like I want to do something. Let's just take ourselves away from being alone together. So it can have both a positive and negative impact on you. But once we began to regulate and once we began to work together and enjoy spending time, you know, in service to God, I think we had more fun, and we've grown. So it's been positive now that we've consciously made an effort.
That's right.
Do you want to say something?
No.
Okay. So how many children do you have so far?
One. We have a son.
What is the most embarrassing time you've had as a couple?
As a couple. Embarrassing time. Do you remember?
They don't remember.
I don't know if we can share. What? I don't know if we can share that on air live.
On live.
All right, go on to the next person.
To Adjetey, do you think children make a marriage successful? And what is your definition of a successful marriage?
Whether children make a marriage successful, I don't think that they hold the key to a successful marriage. They bring their own uniqueness, but it's not just them. I think that when they come in, and the thing is that, and I have to go back to our experience together, that I believe strongly that if we had our child, earlier than the WHYTE, we would have run into serious problems.
Probably would not be together by now.
Because then we wouldn't have, the focus would move from the two of us to the priorities of the child, because they're always calling for attention, and they become the most priority, and therefore then whatever weaknesses or flaws that there are would continue, and then it becomes bigger.
That's right.
And then later on it explodes, and then when did we get here? So I don't think that they may have a role to play, but they are not.
I think children are in the family, not in the marriage.
That's right.
They are not.
Yeah.
The marriage is the two of us. The children come as a result of the marriage, but they are not part of the marriage. That's my opinion.
Right.
Mrs., at what point did you realize that you wanted to give the marriage your all?
At what point? Right from the start. Right from the start. I knew I wanted to. How to do it was what I discovered along the line, but I knew I wanted to give it my all from the start.
Ronnie, you also have something? Okay.
I'm not reading. Okay. Mrs. Annan, in fact, all the ladies on this platform are your rivals, so we admire your husband from afar, but he's all yours.
All right. Thank you. Good to know that. What else?
Then I think from Francis Annan, I just say, what do you admire about Elorm the most?
Francis Annan.
That sounds like my answer.
Okay. What do you admire the most about Elorm? Beyond all that he said already.
I think her selflessness. In everything, she's put me first, and it's amazing how she does that. Because there are times where I don't. Even when we're going to shop, I mean, I'm thinking about Charlie, what shirt am I buying? What but she's thinking, what is she getting me?
Okay.
And even my son before her.
Okay.
And I think that's rare,
Okay.
and I really appreciate that.
That's great.
Georgette McCarthy wants you to know that she loves you both.
Oh.
And
That's my sister.
That's
That's
somebody
his
you know.
sister.
That's my sister.
That's his
Oh, is it?
sister-in-law.
Frederica says, looking back, or is asking rather, looking back, what would you attribute your journey to? Would you attribute it to God, love, character, or just being yourself?
I think for them, from what they have said, all of the above.
Additional factors.
All of the above.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though they didn't know exactly what to do, somehow they found a way to do it, and are here and stronger than ever.
From Mavis, how do you resolve conflicts?
I think that some people have asked me this question on the platform, on the posts that we're making on Instagram, and I think they think that maybe there's something supernatural. We fight. We fight. I mean, we've had maybe just once, but we've had very, very heated fights that got a little physical. We've had those natural, misunderstandings. If it gets really bad, we say things that we regret. We say things that we wish we could take back. Things I know he remembers that I wish he won't remember. And so we've had a lot of fights. But how do we resolve conflict? We always tell ourselves that we have to solve this thing. We can't leave it and let it brush it under the carpet or let something else overlap it. Whatever the issue is, no matter how uncomfortable it may seem, embarrassing, no matter how belittling it may seem, we will deal with it. And we have dealt with things that sometimes have made us stay indoors for 24 hours. Both of us didn't go anywhere. We just stayed indoors, and sometimes he will not eat. He doesn't want to drink water. He doesn't. He's just there, or I'm just there. I'm crying, or he's. We've had a lot of conflict. How do we resolve it? I don't know. Just the will that it will be resolved.
That's right.
Is it? That's
Because
it.
you want to resolve
Yes,
it.
we want to resolve
That's
it.
right. Yeah. It's. I mean, you. Because it won't go away. That's the thing. And
If you don't
need to-
address it.
You can't wish
that's
it away.
No,
You
it's
can't.
going to be
You
there,
can't wish it
it's
away.
staring right there in your face, and we both don't like it, we don't hate it, and therefore there's a need, no matter what sacrifices anybody has to do, we do it, and then have a brighter day the next day.
Great.
Has tribal differences been an issue in your marriage?
Okay, I'm Elway in his gun, but I'm more God than Elway. So I don't think it is. It was a very natural progression. Yes, I grew up speaking Ga. I mean, my mom is Ga. We've gone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't.
So the answer is no.
That's not never been an issue.
So one of our most popular questions: how do you manage your finances?
I mean, our finances are, when it comes to finances, we're pretty much different from those that I hear of around and those that my uncles have said, talked about, or I've seen them do. I remember from the very beginning, even before we got married, my first pay, right? She was on campus. I just came and put you on her bed, and like. This is my first pay. You know much more how to handle cash than so you make sure that it's well spent and well directed. That those that has to be saved are saved. I've always found it very comfortable rather to put it in her hands, and then it gives me peace of mind. Than I know that hey, if
you know that's all. You know when he gives it to you, mean that this is all there is. So if it's finished, that's
Don't come and make any other.
No, you should know it.
You have
This
your
is it.
peace.
But we've been very transparent with our
it's been-
finances. Very transparent. I mean, we have a joint account. That's not the only accounts we have, but we have a joint account, and he knows what happens in it. I know what happens in it. Even the account that is just his account, I'm a signatory to it.
So-
I mean, he prefers to be transparent, and I mean, we don't really have hard and fast rules. If something has to be paid and he has the money, you pay. If I have it, I'll pay. And we really don't. And sometimes I tell him that maybe it's because we're not yet millionaires. Maybe when we become millionaires, we'll start becoming. We'll start keeping our money, But really,
Well, I hope
we've
that.
kept it.
I hope that
I
when you
pray it
get there,
doesn't
you will get there.
change.
You will become millionaires.
Amen.
You will not change. You will not change. I think it's a beautiful thing you have. Yeah, go.
From Belinda, Mrs., how do you feel when your husband kisses in movies?
It depends on who it is.
Those emotions here.
I'll give you a list.
No, don't give a list. Don't give a list.
This one, I'm shocked.
Don't give a list.
It depends on who it is. I mean, I remember one day we were chatting with a pastor, one of our pastors, and he said that we were talking about this, and he said, "Oh, if Adjetey does that, he's just doing his job. It's not. Don't worry about it, But of course, I get worried. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, your mouth touch your mouth, or it's just camera tricks, Sometimes he tells me it was a camera, or something like, no, it's not true. It's not true, but. Nah, it depends. It's not really
The hazards of being married.
Right?
No, but he respects. He has a respectful will. He will not do so much intimacy, and he's very careful about it.
Okay.
I don't think.
No, so when you're in a film and you have to shoot something like that, do you think that? What would she think? What would Elorm think?
No. Even before, I think I've always had this thing where, when it comes to intimacy on set, would have to negotiate whoever the director and producer is, and so they know that we would have to find ways to cheat about it, because I'm personally I'm a bit uncomfortable when it comes to that.
Okay.
And so people
The
really
producers think it's about me. It's not
yeah,
about
and
me.
they
He's
got
uncomfortable
it
by
wrong, but I
himself. It's not
was
only me.
uncomfortable way before I met her,
Yes,
and
I'm very
it's
happy
still been the
about it.
same. So even though, I mean, once in a while, maybe some may look almost getting real, especially when I'm sitting with her in a theater, I'll get some pinches on my thigh. But that's normal, I understand that, you know. But the intention is to make sure that, you know, if we can get away with how we tell it, so that it's not graphic and all that, then I'd opt for that. Yeah.
All right. Any other?
Was there any point that any of them...
Again. Take your time.
My bad.
Okay. Kweku, please.
Was there at any point that any of them wanted to opt out of their marriage?
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot
Okay.
of times. A
Yeah.
lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times I've thought, and I sometimes when I get really angry, I tell them I'm not afraid of divorce. I'm not afraid of divorce, but I am. But I've told him that so many times. Yeah. When I've gotten really angry.
One of those things you wish you won't remember.
Sometimes I think he's good. He remembers a little. That there should be somewhere in his mind where he knows that I. But I mean, most of those things are said out of anger and out of pain and bitterness. But that's not going to be the first option.
Yeah.
From
It should not be an
Fatima.
option.
Amen. It will not be an option.
Yeah, let's go.
From Fatima Adam. She says, Mr. Annan, I know it's a few days away, but can you sing a birthday song for her? Let's hear your
Fatima.
voice. Show some love.
Who is this?
Fatima, she's my colleague at work.
She has been calling your phone.
Oh, I see. She's my colleague.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elorm. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness.
No, since you sang that song, you know a song like this cannot be sung Sakura like that.
I know, right? She's too far away from you.
Hey, you boy.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, any other question?
Oh, okay. Anthony needs advice. He says, I am an Ashanti-born Catholic, raised and self-employed by profession, who wants to settle down with a Bronx-born. Baptist raised and formerly employed. Religious differences has become our challenge more than our tribes. Should I let her go or fight for her now?
Please, I think this is the right opportunity to let people know that don't get us wrong. I mean, especially with what the lessons that we learned, that we shared on social media so far, is just to share with you what our journey has been, to let you know that it's not all that rosy. You need to work at it, stick together. But we're no experts in relationships, and to give you advice. I think that you would have to see much more a resource person in that field. I mean, if whatever we've gone through and you can find some kind of encouragement or sort of emulate something that you think you would want to try on,
You can apply,
so be it. But I really can't give you.
We don't
an
have the
honest-
blueprints for a successful marriage.
All right.
We do not.
Okay, let's go on. Right. Read Anthony's question again.
Oh, okay. Just a minute, sorry. Okay. He says, I'm an Ashanti-born, Catholic raised and self-employed by profession, who wants to settle down with a Bronx-born. Baptist raised and formerly employed. Religious differences has become our challenge more than our tribes. Should I let her go or fight for love?
Do you want it to go, Anthony? I think that's more the question than anything else. If you all say you are worshiping the same God, how come that God comes between you and divides you? So, Anthony, there may be some other reasons, other issues, different from either tribal or even religion. So confront the issues. And I like the way you have to put everything about you out there. I am an Ashanti-born Catholic, relating to a Bronx-born Baptist. I thought you were going to say an Ashanti-born fufu eating, Ashanti Kotoko supporting. But anyway, So, but if it's anything, you could also go to one of your pastors and speak with them. But whenever people from a Christian denomination say our religion has become an issue between us, I said, then you don't know the God that you call him, because we are one. We really, really are one. And with that, I'd like to thank Elorm and Pusha for joining us. They're a young couple, but they've been through a lot, and the way they've spoken, the way they've shared as honestly and openly as possible, it tells me this relationship is headed all the way.
Amen.
They have what it takes to go all the way. The honesty, the openness, the preparedness to be vulnerable to each other. That is what I have gathered from this, and I celebrate the two of you.
Thank you.
I celebrate the relationship you built, and thank you for letting him come back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ghana would have been a poorer without him. And so God bless and keep you. And may laughter never depart from your home.
Amen.
And may there not be brokerages.
Amen.
And as for becoming millionaires, may you be.
Amen.
Amen.
And with that, I'd like to thank every one of you. Remember, Dora, why? At the National Theatre, 6th and 7th. You have up to tomorrow to buy the early bird ticket at 60. Otherwise, you get it at 80. But one way or the other, let's see you at the National Theatre on the 6th and 7th, and then over the Easter period. So thank you for investing your time and data. And to my team, many of them have comported themselves well, apart from Kweku. They have comported themselves very well today because of the presence of Elorm. Elorm has had a very sobering effect on the young men here. Oh, they've all behaved well. They have behaved well. Especially him.
Ken is my friend.
Oh, he's been very. This is the most subdued I've seen him in a long time. Also, you realize that right through it, nobody has heard his voice. Not a sound from the quarters of I, but he's there. So to the team, every one of you, thank you very much. Director, thank you for coming. Greg, we will not be able to see you off to the airport, so safe journey back when you have to go. And then come on now, thank you for coming with us. To all of you, have a great weekend. Stay blessed. Hello. They call me